Hello,
Hello.
I'm cheating on Carlos with this guy. Today we will talk about how to choose tattoo machine. Why we talking about this? This gentleman messed up his fancy machine and was going crazy on research and looking in all sorts of machines and which one to choose, or it's the same one or different, and which direction to go. And then we started to talk in general what would be like the one tattoo machine, or at least the one first tattoo machine. So we will kind of redo the conversations that we had while he was doing his research. So what happened? What machine did you have? What happened?
So, the machine I wanted to buy was Spectra Halo 2, the crossover, because it's like a rotary machine. And it also can do like standard needles. So if you wanted to use like the old school needles, you can do it. If you want to use cartridges, you can also do that. So I thought it would be a very smart move to use as first rotary machine. Because before I used only coil, yeah, and I wanted to try something funky. So I did.
So you
Bought that one, super happy about it, but then it started to,
misbehave.
be, be funny. And I put it on a shelf again. I thought, like, okay, now I'll use my old machines again, spend some time with coil machines again, but now I got it fixed. Started to try it again a bit, yeah. Really good, funny, yeah.
Okay, had it fixed means that he bought a new motor.
Yes.
Because after all the research and looking into budgets and all that, that seemed like the smartest move to do, and it worked.
Yes, well, yeah, I was going on a bit of a path on different web pages and all to see if I can replace it with anything, like if it should be like Cheyenne pen machine, or it should be different kind of rotary, or I should just skip it completely and try something new. But I realized that if I could just get it maybe going again, it could still be useful. So I replaced motor, got the thing going again. Now it seems like it's pretty decent.
And the man is happy. So while he was doing that research, we talked about many machines, and every now and then we get that question from some people where they starting tattooing, and then they're like, oh, what machine should I choose? And often they already have some kit from eBay and it's not going anywhere. So we're talking about first machine, and we're also considering that most likely you don't have a huge budget when
Yeah, maybe like what would be the smartest move to do? How much money you should spend? What you should buy, what you shouldn't buy, at least.
yeah.
Stuff like that, because there's a bunch of different things out there.
So let's start with budget. Let's say 250 euros, which would be 2,000 kronas. What's your suggestion?
I think I would recommend people not to buy them kits, at least, because they very dodgy, and you get all these kinds of different elements in a kit that you maybe not want or need. Like you get some like funky color situation. You get some, maybe you get Allen keys, maybe you don't. You get machines you don't know how they are built, how they work.
All the metal thingies where you put the
Like, oh yeah, also you get
ink
like
caps.
ink caps, and you get like different. Maybe you get grips, maybe you don't. You get needles, you don't know how they work, and to what they work with. So yeah, I think you should. Best way is to like ask around. I think.
Kit could be useful if you want to practice on like bananas or something, just to get hold
Maybe
of
just
it.
get the feel, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like.
But they still
it's
work.
not money well spent.
They still work maybe different. I think. Some of them could be alright, but you don't know because it's. I think they like mass produced and just stuff like that. So it's. And you don't know how long they last, and you don't know how they run, all that stuff. So I think you need to ask people that know something about it, maybe ask them what machines they use and for what they use them for, to get an idea of like, okay, I need
of direction.
I need like hard hitting machine to do this. I need soft machine to do this. What do I want to do? What's my style? All that stuff.
So no to kit machines. There's also on web pages where you buy supplies. There's often like very low budget versions of machines. I know people who worked with them and they did like some works and they were alright, at least for what they were doing. Like it was some fine line works and stuff like that. So they're probably capable of doing that.
But then
like,
again, like you don't know how long they work.
Yeah, they might not last too long and they might be just weird, and when you get to the regular machine, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, also you don't know the consistency of the machine. Like if you wanted to try to make, let's say, line work with the machine that's good at dot work, and then it could like really fuck it up,
We figured out that probably if you are on a low budget, the first thing to go would be a second-hand machine, and probably a second-hand machine from somebody you know, some artist like who tattoos you, or maybe you have some friends tattooists, because first of all you can see what they can do with that machine, and they can also
kind of guide you if things starting to mess up or you have questions about it, they know how to answer it, instead of if you just buy some cool machine on a webpage and you just read some fucking reviews or something, you don't know anything about it.
Especially if they are official reviews from official page, and all machines are amazing.
Exactly, and then if you have questions about it, they don't answer, or you don't know how to get answers from them, and you want to be aware of things.
You want to have this backup of where you can question somebody, and sometimes people ask like, what's better, rotary or coil? Then I think in this situation it doesn't really matter, because it's like if you are surrounded by people who use only rotaries and you will ask about coils, some of them have no experience, some of them had experience back in the days, or other way around. So I think you have to use that where you have the most access to information, I would put it like that.
Yeah, because like you say, if you work in like rotary only shop, then they will guide you the best they know. And I think machines now, they pretty all around, coil machines, they can do lines, they can do color packing, they can do it all. And also rotary machines can now do perfect lines and all that. So
rotaries usually, like if something breaks down, you change a part and it's back as it was. With coils, you change one element and it can mess up the whole game. So again, then it's good to have someone who knows what's up, who you can say, oh, maybe you can check and explain what's the situation. Like I bought my first machines, I bought 2 second-hand machines, and they were, I don't remember how much they were, but they were not expensive, and I still have them. But they've been redone a lot by many people. But I had a chance to give it to somebody, and they were like, "Oh no, if you want to do this, let's change this until I find the thing that works for me."
I mean, it's different story with rotaries because they build in one way. You cannot like change some motors. You can change like the stroke and all, but that's about it. You cannot change like coils or back stem or like whatever you like. You cannot mess around with it. It's the way it's built, and if it messes up, then you might be able to change motor, but probably won't. Like if you buy a Cheyenne pen, you cannot change anything. Like.
Yeah, but it's possible to buy, I think, under 200 euros if you search for it like second-hand, good coil or decent, I don't know, good coil and good rotary. It's possible to get, and then it just depends on what you're planning to do and what your options are. Also, you can get, I think, Cheyenne under, like, well, in around 250 euros.
Yeah.
But
also, if you know the guy, like
yeah.
we talked about, if you know the guy, maybe you can get a better deal. Also, maybe they want to help you out a bit and stuff like that.
The downside with them machines, I think, is running costs, because obviously they're designed to work with original cartridges. Then you can use some third party, they are cheaper. But if you go all original, the grips cost, the tips cost, and let's say you work in a shop where minimum charge is 50 euros, let's say you get half of it, and then you spend like 5 euros just on 2 tips of the thing. So they're good machines, I guess, for what they made for, and the running cost might be a bit expensive. If you do bigger pieces and you making money with it, I think it doesn't really matter.
No, the most important part is figure out like what you want to do, maybe how you want to do it, because there can also be upsides with the rotaries because they're more silent. Vibration might not be that insane.
Good for home tattooing.
Very good. But just in the long term, that could be kind of nice not to have that buzzing in your ear, and vibrations for hands could also be very good. Not to have that all the time. But, well, we've been working a lot with coil machines and we don't feel it that much. But I think maybe in 20
years you might
feel
issues.
Something. So it really matters on like the style you want to do, what you want to do.
But talking of what machine to choose, and in that price range it would be a good second-hand machine. I wouldn't go into all that like cheap stuff or some unknown brands and something like that, because you don't know. Maybe that machine will just every 5 sessions it will work different because something wears off, and you will be focusing on the wrong things. Be focusing on machine, or you will have to try to figure out what's wrong with it. And it's only that machine. And also when you begin, it's good that you don't have excuses to blame on machine, because if you bought it for someone, they did a good work with it. So with me, if something is not working right, then it's you, it's not machine.
Yeah, so maybe we can say to people that it's good to use some money on machines to know that they are reliable, but you shouldn't, if you want to try something new, let's say you been on coil machines, love them, and they work with your style and all, you want to try rotary, then you shouldn't maybe buy the most expensive one just to try it out. If it's not like you spend like a whole lot of money on like nothing.
If budget is not an issue, go for it.
Just go for it
and then sell it to me for cheap.
That's comment below.
Another option in that price range is direct drive rotaries.
Maybe you should tell the difference.
The old school ones, they just motor is spinning moving the needle, and
it's like going around instead of the other ones. They going like up and down kind of situation.
Yeah, I think they were like even before coils, but I'm not expert on that. But again, if you have people who use them and you can ask, they will explain. I don't have much experience with them. I don't know. I think in terms like they just, you don't have any adjustments on give and all that, but same you don't, I think, with Cheyenne, because it's also just motor moving the thing. You can just change the length of needle and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's a lower budget, and then you can find these grips where you can kind of transfer it to, so it can work with cartridges and all that. So that's a little hack. But again, if somebody can explain about them, good.
I think it's very good to know. Yeah.
And then many people will say that you need to learn with coils, because that was before rotaries, to understand all the basics. But then you probably need to try the direct drives as well.
Yeah.
Maybe hand poking at some point.
Yeah, like we talked about it, like most, if you go into apprenticeship, then most people would want you to learn the coil machine first, because they very reliable, and like if you get into apprenticeship, the teacher you have, they almost all of them have been using coil machines at one point, so they know what's up, and you can always fall back on that thing. But now I feel like all of them, like portrait specialists and all that, they use rotary machines and have not used coil that much.
Or they used it for a very short time and then they switched to that because it's more comfortable or whatever.
Exactly. So cool. I feel like it comes all up to like what you want to do, how you've been learning, like what you want to learn.
If you want to respect traditions or you want to be groundbreaking dude.
Yeah, like because I like tradition, but it's not for all people. So maybe some
It's
people
good.
just want to.
It's good to know. It's not maybe that necessary to know.
No, but maybe some people just want to do the tattoos. You know, they want to learn how to do the things they want to do, and just go for it. Like buy best machine for that thing.
But I
and
think
then
with
go for
many
it.
things, it's like you learn all the aspects and then you choose your own way. So that would
Yeah,
be
that would be
that
the
like
best.
yeah.
That's a top tip right there.
Bam, learn the basics.
Learn it all, and then you can choose. You know.
Now let's say you have around 500 euros to spend, 4,000 kronos. So that's where you can get into like new machines.
I know that if you wanna buy a new machine, it's very good to read the reviews on web pages and all. Maybe go on YouTube and figure out like what's going on with the machines. There's a bunch of new ones coming out. A lot is focusing on that kind of pen situation, like Cheyenne started with.
Yeah.
Like that Proton, for example. I was kind of liking it, but I heard that it's very soft in its hit, and I don't like that. I need, because I'm making way more traditional work, I like it hard hitting. So that's not a machine for me, but it's
Yeah.
very good to find out how they are built, how they work.
And also for the coils, for example, even second-hand or new,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
good standard is workhorse irons.
Yes,
And like there's many machines out there, but with them they also set up so good that what it says it's made for, it most likely will. So like like
and maybe more, you know.
yeah, you want to use these needles, like they will set up. But that's the thing with coils, that I had many machines and most of them were second hand. It took me 3 or 4 adjustments by different people till it matched like the way I work, my
Yeah.
speed, my capabilities.
When I started, I bought brand new machines. Yeah, I bought these workhorse iron machines, and I also bought like custom Chris Smith shader. But I bought them because I knew that they would be new. I knew that they would be good, and that's the reliability is also very important, I think, because then they work like they supposed to.
Yeah, I have one custom built machine. I ordered it. I'm happy with machine, but I needed to tweak it, and I'm not expert on that situation. I needed 2 people to say what's up, what to do, till I found that thing that works for me.
Yeah.
So, but for coils, like in a 500, you can leave 500 euro budget. You can find
You can find
good machines.
all like great machines. You can easily, but I kind of made that mistake of buying super good workhorse iron machine. It worked perfectly. It was a liner. It worked with every needle grouping. But then I started to tweak it a bit. Adjust the contact screw a bit, doing kinds of different ways and all that. Now it is useless.
Also, you have to consider that every grouping will never be every grouping. Like
No, but it worked from like if you turn the voltage down a bit, it was like 3 and 4 and all that. It could easily do, and it could also do up to like 9 or even 11. But then you have to start to push it.
that's a good range. Like if you can get 3 to 9, it's a good range. But that's where I think, again, if you're choosing your first machine, you have to find out what you're doing, and then like if you need like a stronger liner with thicker needles, or if you're leaning towards some traditional works, it's probably the coils, because I haven't heard that like cartridge machines or rotaries, they do like big liners.
No.
Like people say you have to go over more times, or like I think cartridges you can't even get bigger than 11s or something.
No, I think also that's the biggest ones, and I know in cartridges they are like smaller, they're more compact.
So they all have that bug pin situation.
Yeah, so even an 11 can be like a textured like 9 or something in coil world.
Yeah, so that's where it's good idea to know if you want to invest in the new machine, and if you want to spend half €1,000, then it's kind of see direction where you want to go. And again, it's that access of information. Like if you're planning to do a crazy realistic works and all people you know are using Xi'an pens or like other sort of.
But you can also tell that if you do realistic work, it's not that often you do super bold line work, so you don't have to have a machine that can do 18 round liner and also do amazing smooth shading.
That's the machines on 500 euro
Totally.
budget. And then we talked about what would be the best machine overall, like one machine.
Yeah.
Not for specific thing, but sort of overall in theory, and it's
like
just
what can do the most, kinda.
And
not the best, but
like
good.
all around there, and also that's more based on us smartassing instead of some strict science.
Yeah. So what's your opinion?
My guess was that it would be some of them Xi'an machines with cartridges, because it's one machine what you can use as a shader or liner or whatever, because you have to change only the cartridges. The downside might be running costs, and like if you want to go full hygiene, then you need another grip, or you can have one customer between every sterilization cycle and all that.
I think a lot of people now, they only have maybe one customer a day or maybe two, and then you can have like 2 grips a day situation, and then you're fine.
Yeah, but that was one of the reasons that you can have one machine that can do it all. You change cartridges, so it's comfort of use. It's one machine. Yeah. Also, if you're traveling and all that, you don't need to have shitloads of stuff. You pack one machine,
it's super easy.
one grip, packs of them cartridges. But then you topped me with that thing that you have.
Yes, because the Spectra I bought, it's very like it's a rotary machine, but you can adjust like the give and the stroke of the motor, so you can have, let's say you want them thick lines, you can adjust the stroke on it or the give to make it like super hard, and if you want to do shadings you can turn it up and give it more give to make sure it's soft shading. And if you are working with cartridges, you can do that, just have grips for it, and
plus they have better grips than the Xi'an have. You can take them apart, you can sterilize, so they are smarter on the safety things on it.
Yeah, because they can use them like RPGs, the adjustable grips that can be autoclaved and all that. That's a good thing. They can also use disposable ones for cartridges, like for example like Cheyenne and all that. But if you don't have that stuff, you can always go back to traditional standard needles and use like disposables or even the metal ones.
And you have selection of needles.
You have everything. You don't have to worry about anything. You have your machine, and it works only with RCA cable, but that goes into every power supply ever, so you don't have to worry about anything.
So that would be the best all-rounder machine, but then obviously the best machines are the best machines that people use for their stuff, because some people have some specifically tuned coils for their shit, and
but like perfect. You can say that it's a very good all-round machine, that Spectra, but it's also very expensive. And if it breaks down like mine did, then it can be like an expense to replace it.
You spend as much as on a motor as you can buy a second-hand machine.
Easy, yeah.
So that's one thing, and then another thing, you can adjust, but you always won't adjust it, because if you have machines to choose from, you would rather set up probably 2 machines that if you have to readjust all the strokes and all that.
Also because of that hygiene thing. Like if you working
in the middle of session,
just sitting with your dirty gloves on and trying to figure out stuff, or else you have to take it all away and sterilize the machine, then you can do all the fiddling, and then you can put it all back together and be all like, hey, we spent 20 minutes on nothing.
Yeah.
kind of.
So yeah, it's a good machine, but like it's good for everything, but still you can't do everything at that one
No,
moment.
like I would say it's very good to have rotary machines for, let's say, lines only, because then you can just change the like the cartridge if you're running with them, and then that machine is only that. Like it's not going to shade. Then you can have another machine for shading, and then
or other way
do like that.
around.
Yeah, because then you don't have to do all that fiddling part.
So, what's the conclusions on machines? First machine to buy would be the one that your budget allows, and the one you have more access to information. So probably,
So it depends.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it can like
What you feel.
it's the one you can afford, and some people can consult on that.
Yeah, like what you feel is like by information only. What you feel is more you. You know, like if people tell you a lot of good things about a certain type of machine, then it may be maybe that thing. And if they say a lot of weird stuff you cannot relate to, then it might not be your thing.
Or different people say different stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then if it's a budget where you can afford, then you kind of more have to lean towards of what are you planning to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like if you go to that 500 euro kind of situation, then you can pretty much buy a machine that can do it all. Like they are almost certain to also do line work and shading and color packing and all that. So you're pretty much all set.
Covered.
Yeah.
Covered, but not comfortable with doing it because one machine is hard to pull up. And consider that we're talking only machines. There's power supplies and all sorts of stuff involved, but it's only machine.